Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be catching up in my 2021 planner. I am doing the month of October spreads. I did do 2 plan with me's, but I will be going through the entire month just for a little catch up on my life at this time. Definitely need a refresher because it's been a while since October. Here is my monthly overview. This is where I like to get pictures and fill it in this month, but I'm super behind on that too. Hopefully I'll get to it, but for October, in my last video, we were ending September, my husband's birthday week, and now we're getting into the end of September, beginning of October, September 27th through October 3rd. I'm using this kit from Nikki Plus 3 called Sweet Autumn 2.0. I'm actually using all kits from Nikki Plus 3 this time, at least in this video where I'm going through each week. Like I said, I normally don't like using the same shop back to back, but I have been trying to use a lot of my older formatted kits, and this one I think was a grab bag that I got last year at the end of the year, so I was excited to use it this October. And I also got a bunch of other fall themed kits, so I wanted to use them, and I have so many Nikki Plus 3 kits, so I decided that I'm just gonna go ahead and use as many as I could, especially since I'm just catching up and trying to get this planner finished. I was really wanting to use a lot of my older formatted Nikki Plus 3 kits, but I didn't have a ton from fall, so I am using a more recent version of kits. Although this one is still kind of the older format, I ended up getting another one of these kits in another grab bag, because whenever she has the grab bags, I like to get those. They're such a great deal and they're really good quality. So I have an extra set of this kit. I might end up giving it away in the future. I'm probably around the end of summer so that someone could use it. So this kit had the Today to Do format, and when I purchased it the first time, there was like a little bit of an update. So they came with these header add-on that you could do, and so I purchased that with it, and I decided not to use Today to Do headers in this kit, and I wanted to stay away from the checklist. So that's kind of been like my challenge to myself, especially with these kits. I'm so used to using little checklists for these Nikki Plus 3 spreads, but then I end up with so many functional stickers like these quarter boxes. I always usually have a ton left over. So in my mind, I just need to take out the checklist so that I have more room for the other functional boxes and more decorative elements. Anyways, getting into this week, I use a bunch of Simply Gilded washi. I have some flags from the kit. I also have, I believe this is Hello Petite paper and Sweet Bean plans. And the weekend banner is from the kit. As far as I really tried to use mainly stickers from these kits because there are plenty, and I think that's really all I used. The Glitter Mama, and yeah. So on Monday, Coffee Monday, I went to the gym for a workout. We had gotten back into like a routine of going to the gym while my husband was working from home, so this was one of those days. I uploaded a video, I recorded a voiceover and started editing the next video. This was when I was really trying to catch up, and I can't remember which one I was editing and uploading at the time, but then we started watching Young Sheldon. My husband and I had started watching The Big Bang Theory, and my husband really relates to Sheldon's character, and I got some Happy Mail from Rowent Crest Scissors, Olive and June, and Nikki Plus 3. PJ asked to learn about fractions, so I was kind of going through what fractions means, and he was getting an idea of how to add fractions and what fractions equaled each other. So he was actually having a good time with that. And this was also when Benny was using the phrase "my Jenna," which I thought was interesting. I didn't know what he was saying at first, but he has a bunch of different, actually it's mainly Benny who has like the imaginary friends where he has all of their different names, and PJ has joined him in that, and then they had this whole thing where it was Benny's Jenna and not PJ's Jenna. So I guess they each have their own set of imaginary friends. But anyways, on Tuesday, our dog threw up in the kitchen, which wasn't fun. I think it happened like right before taking PJ to school. So just a frantic morning, I guess. I did some editing, laundry, huge Old Navy delivery. I had been getting all of our outfits for family photos. So this was part of that, where I was trying to figure out what we were going to wear. I showed my husband my spreadsheets. I had made some spreadsheets because I was kind of getting overwhelmed with my planner and my channel, and I kind of needed a visual of what I had accomplished, what I needed to accomplish, and generally in general, I'm working on a ton of spreads at once. Like I will show, let's see, I think I had started this one last night, but I kind of like do the setup. I normally don't do the full boxes yet, but since I'm like filming, or since I'm doing these spreads on my own, I started adding the full boxes and trying to figure out what I want to use. But normally I'll have like 7 to 10 spreads set up as far as the perimeter, the washi banner, because I like to get those all filmed at the same time so that I kind of can do filming like a little mindlessly. I don't have to really think about it too much. Do the bottom washi and do this part that's a little more fun for me, because whenever I'm actually doing the day by day, I have to think about what fits and what I want to put in, what I want to cut out of each day, look at my notes and see what is gonna work for the day. But I like to have a ton of, especially when I'm behind, I generally have a lot of spreads set up and I'm working on all of them at the same time. So I kind of like to see a breakdown of how far I am and how much I have to get done. I set it up where I have all the videos on one side, and then across the top I have all of the things that I have to do for each video. So the perimeter is one, pre-planning, filming, editing, recording the voiceover, and working on the thumbnail and the upload. So I have like a box for each of those, so I can check those off on my spreadsheet when they are all finished. Sometimes I'll have like photos taken of all my spreads. I try to do that like in batches. So I'll have all the photos taken, but the videos aren't even edited yet. And I just like to have a visual of that. I was showing my husband and he was really happy with that. He makes a ton of spreadsheets at work, so he was really happy to see that I was also being able to use some for my channel. But we had some couch time and family Zoom with my brother and sister. Wednesday was trash day. When we were on our walk, I had noticed that Benny was trying to hold PJ's hand for a while, maybe like for the past week, and PJ was just not about that. And this day he finally was like, okay, I'll let you hold my hand. I don't know what he had to work up to like allow that to happen, but he was okay with holding hands. and I ordered and printed thank you cards. I think I ordered them on Etsy. I did one for each of the boys based on the theme of their parties, and I printed those out. And I think, let's see, I think there's another day. I think it's in the next week. I'll get to that later. I painted my nails. PJ had told me this evening that he said, "You're the best mom. I love that you're my mom," which was so special. And I read with the boys this evening. On Thursday, we had a family drop-off. My husband was able to join us. I went to the gym for a workout. Another upload, which was exciting to be able to do that. I don't know when I'll be able to get back to that kind of schedule, but PJ tells my husband about school and his classmates, so he was like telling him in more detail about where his friends sit and how the classroom works, and I thought that was pretty cool because he normally doesn't like talking about school as much. He usually saves a lot of his stories for bedtime, but he was really excited to tell my husband more details about everybody. And then I watched Married at First Sight, family Zoom again with my brother and sister. I was telling Benny, "You're my sweet honey bun," and he said, "No, I'm your kid." He's definitely developed this thing where he does not like to be called a baby or anything like sounds like a baby. He is a big boy, he's a kid, and that's definitely probably what he thought I was saying, like that he was a little baby in some form. But Friday we had therapy. I cleaned the kitchen, living room, and the bathroom. My mom came over to visit. The boys devoured my husband's dinner. They asked for seconds and thirds, and they never do that whenever I cook dinner. For some reason, my husband cooks dinner, and it's like the most amazing dinner they've ever had, even if it's something that I've made. They just love my husband so much. But then we watched The Voice. On Saturday, I was able to sleep in. We went to the park and we spent a lot of time there, did some filming. PJ ate all of his beans, which normally he leaves all of his beans on his plate. I don't even know if he's ever even tried them, but this day he tried them and he was like, "Oh, they're really not that bad," and he ate them all. Sunday, I cleaned the boys' rooms. This was our first time trying a barbecue place in our town, and it was pretty good, but it was a little pricey, so we're kind of not up, like we haven't been back since then. Like it was good, but maybe not worth the price. I napped with PJ. He was not feeling well most of this day. He kind of has a pattern whenever he's starting to get sick that he doesn't feel like eating. He just isn't, like, he has like pretty obvious signs that he's not feeling well, and I've learned to just let him, listen to his body. He knows it pretty well. Like he knows when he's not feeling great, and so if he's not feeling like eating because he doesn't feel well, and I don't push it, and most of the time he's like, every single time he's correct about how he's feeling. It's kind of like this cycle that he goes through every time he's sick with anything. So he did end up getting sick in the evening. I wrote that he was drooling in the morning, which is kind of common when he's like scared of throwing up, and then he ended up throwing up in the evening. So he had asked me to nap with him because he just wasn't feeling great, and then of course I spent the whole evening taking care of him and making sure he was okay. We kind of have our routine with that, and it has happened a lot since he started school. I think maybe this was the first time of the school year that it happened, and it happened a lot in November, December. So definitely not fun way to end the week, but it was still a great week, and I was happy to incorporate some pumpkins into my planner. So going on, oh, actually, I'm going to show the leftovers from this kit. I had used a bunch of bows. This was the add-on that I was able to purchase. And I used these headers instead of these Today To Do headers. And no checklist, which was really tough for me, but that's pretty much all the leftovers that I had. I used everything else, which was always the goal. Moving on to the next week. This is called Autumn Garden, and another Nikki +3 kit. I used Simply Gilded washi, sweet bean plants, definitely a little bit bright, but it's the closest like green. I feel like I need a little more green in the washi banner, so I tried to cover some of that. And then of course the flags from the kit. But I really love this. I think if I would have known that I wasn't going to be filming these videos, I might have saved this one for 2022 October, but I think you maybe can tell that I love more bright colors. So I was very excited to get this kit. I was definitely becoming more into orange because Benny, that's his favorite color, so I'm more drawn to orange, and for a while green was PJ's favorite color. I don't really know what it is now, it kind of changes it daily, but I really love this kit. I love how this turned out. Let's see, I have the glitter mama and just the usual icons from the kit, but I'm not going to go through all of the icons. I've used a lot of White Deer stationery. Let's see, in this one, Harry Wright Designs, Fox and Pip. I'll link all the shops down below. If you have a question about any of the specific stickers, I will let you know. But this day, Monday the 4th, was Jackson's birthday. He turned 7. Jackson is our dog. He's a black lab, and this was his birthday, but since PJ was sick, we actually didn't celebrate until Sunday when I was able to regroup and actually focus on baking his cake. Normally I always have a cake for him, I get gifts for him, and it was just a little too much on this day. So PJ didn't go to school, we had a sick day. He was up really early, but you know, I was just recovering, watching TV, trying to get better. I don't think this sickness was too bad. It was just like overnight, and he had started feeling better pretty quickly, which is definitely not always the case. But Coffee Monday, my husband had to fly out to Ohio for work, which, you know, was not great timing, but I guess it was, we just had to adjust. I started cleaning my room, got some Happy Mail. Let's see, I washed the new clothes. We had been getting a bunch of packages for all of the clothes that I had ordered, so I started washing those. I was kind of waiting for most of them to get in to wash them and figure out like what goes with what and what everyone. I also usually buy a bunch of clothes for PJ because he is the one who needs the bigger sizes, and I was buying more of like the colder weather clothes for him to wear, even though it didn't really get cold for a while. But I made some cards on Shutterfly. I think they were thank you cards. I just did a photo of both PJ and Benny in their birthday shirts. I try to get them birthday shirts with their number and their name with the theme of their party. And in the past, they've had the same theme, but this year they had different themes, different parties. So they had their own shirts and their own design. So I took pictures of that in a previous week, ordered the cards, and they had arrived this day, so I was able to really start assembling all the thank you cards. I wanted to have Benny sign his name since that's what he's still learning how to, write letters on his own. PJ, I was just expecting him to sign his name, maybe write thank you, but he ended up writing really sweet notes in all of them. He wrote all the sentences out on his own, and I was in shock because I didn't know that he did so well. I was really proud. The grammar was great, the structure of a sentence was great. I was really surprised that he could just go with it all on his own. Normally he gets, my reassurance and asks what to write, but he wanted his own messages on each of those cards. He thanked every single person in his own way, every card was different, so it was really sweet. Anyways, actually I think I wrote it somewhere over here. But anyways, I got some more clothes delivered, clean the bathrooms, Target pickup, Happy Mail from the Coffee Monsters Co. Did some filming, family Zoom night. So happy to be able to use this sticker. I never am able to use this color, but it looks so great with this. Trash day, laundry day. It was minimum day every Wednesday. So this day, for some reason, I just I think the first week of school, I took them to, I don't know if it was Jack in the Box, possibly on Wednesday on the minimum day, because it seemed like we had more time to actually go get the food, and the other days it seemed like we didn't really have a lot of time. We needed to eat, do homework, and go straight to nap time. And Wednesday it kind of felt a little more relaxed because we had more time, so I took them out to eat, and every week they expect to have something. They're just used to a routine. So since I started it in the beginning, I was like, okay, I guess I can continue that. We don't really get fast food all too much anymore, so it was like, okay, we can do it on Wednesdays. On this day we went to get McDonald's. PJ loves patterns, so he loves Jack in the Box and McDonald's, and we've kind of just been alternating those. This day was McDonald's. Like I keep saying, but PJ kind of had a power trip, which is what I wrote. He loves maps, and I always put the map on, I plug my phone in, and Waze is on in my car so he can see the map. And I put from school, I just put in, going home, but I ended up going to McDonald's instead. After that, Waze was still telling me to go home, but it told me a different way to go, and I just never go that way. I never take the road that it tells me to go because it seems like it takes much longer to go that way, or I don't know, it just, in my mind, the way that I go is faster, so I always go a different way. But PJ was really upset, and he hadn't really told me until I was already, I didn't even look at Waze. I wasn't looking because I already know how to get home, and he started freaking out when I'm in the middle of the intersection. I was going straight, and he wanted me to follow Waze and turn left, but I was in my lane to go straight, so it's not like I could just change my mind and go left mid, driving. and he kind of started freaking out while like I was in the middle of the intersection that I'm not going the right way. And you know, I think I had talked about this in another video, that when I try to let them have, you know, get their emotions out, get their feelings out, and talk about how they're feeling. You know, it's not the easiest thing to do as a parent, to just let your child have like a little meltdown outburst, but I think it's better than trying to like suppress their feelings. I want them to get it out, and then we can talk through it and try to get him to realize that, you know, sometimes things just don't go your way and you can't always control everything. And in this case, it was just like, oh, I wasn't even looking at ways. I'm sorry that I didn't realize it meant so much to you. Sometimes mama goes a different way than ways tells you to go, and that's okay. There's different ways to get home. So it was kind of like having to explain that. What I will say is pretty much the whole car ride home, he was upset and kind of going on a rant, and like I said, a power trip of just, you can't do that, you know, saying all these things. And it is a little tough knowing that Benny was in the car listening to everything, and he likes to copy PJ a lot in a lot of different, you know, circumstances. So I kind of was aware of that, but I was trying to just stay calm and not do anything I would regret later. Just like, okay, let him get it out, and you know, try to talk to him when he is more willing to listen. It was a very stressful car ride and took a ton of patience, and I had to spend a lot of time talking through that with both of the boys so they can try to understand where, you know, my head was at and what we can do in the future to talk to each other instead of, you know, yelling at each other. Anyways, that was a very long-winded explanation of that box, but did some filming. So my husband was still gone. Obviously this day was pretty stressful, and I had scheduled COVID tests for this evening because I just wanted to make sure that, you know, PJ had gotten sick. I just wanted to make sure that he was negative. Like, I still had sent him to school because I didn't really have any worries that he had COVID, but I just wanted to be safe. Like, worst case, you know, I was sending him to school and he was, you know, spreading it. So I was like, I just want to know, have peace of mind. And also, since my husband was coming back home, I kind of just wanted to know that the house was safe for him to come home. And my husband, since he was traveling, he was planning to quarantine anyway, but definitely for peace of mind, if we ever get symptoms, I'd just rather get a test to be sure. But I had scheduled that, and when I was getting everyone in the car, I saw a box outside, and it was a huge surprise. My new phone was delivered really early. I was not expecting it until December. I think it had told me like either November, end of November or early December that I would get it, and I was so upset about it because I think I had waited 6 months to order it so that I would get a little bit of a discount, which seems so ridiculous after I really thought about it, because I didn't know it was such a small discount. Like, once the new iPhones come out, there's a discount on the older versions, and I was like, I'm just gonna wait until that happens. And then I realized it was like at $100 less, and that made me really upset because I waited so long to order the phone. I definitely needed it at least 6 months before the new phones were out, and yeah, that's just a lesson for the future. I still waited because once I realized that, it was like maybe a few weeks left until the new phones were going to be released. So anyways, my phone arrived this day. I was so excited. but I wasn't even able to use it. I can't remember. I was trying to like sync my old phone with this phone, and it was syncing for hours. I just ended up giving up by the end of the night and deciding to like start fresh and add everything myself because it was like not moving at all. So I decided not to sync everything over. Anyways, my husband came. He flew home Thursday morning, but he went to work right after that, so I think he came a little bit later. And like I said, he was quarantined, so I decided to sleep in the office so that he could have the room because there's a bathroom with that. And I was like, I'll just share the bathroom with the boys, just makes more sense. I set up my new phone in the morning. I tried cleaning the house, and in my notes I had like a long list of things that I was doing this day, but I just boiled it all down to cleaning the house because that's really what it was. PJ earned his 50-word spelling medal. I think he actually earned it on this day, I'm pretty sure, but for some reason I didn't remember to put it. I don't know. I had laid the boxes down and I don't know how I missed it, so I decided to add it here. And that kind of like also made this whole thing worse because I was so proud of him, so excited that he did it, and then it was just a really tough day. But anyways, I was trying to wash my bedding so that my husband would have clean sheets, clean bedding, and our dryer wasn't working. I think I was able to wash the sheets and dry those, but then when I was putting the comforter in, it wasn't getting dry, and I didn't know what was happening. I kept drying it over and over, and it was just cold and wet, and it was basically like running with cold air. So that wasn't great. Our comforter was I just had to air dry it, but my husband brought home some pho because PJ had been sick, and he always likes to get pho whenever someone is sick, so he brought that home, especially because he knew I had such a tough first half of the week. He wanted to, you know, have me not worry about dinner for that evening. Friday, I changed my Invisalign tray. Oh, here's where I wrote that I worked on the thank you cards with PJ and Benny. I kind of had to squish in here that PJ wrote the messages on the cards all on his own. I gave PJ his first reading test for 150 words. I wasn't aware that he was going to like graduate from the 50 words to 150 words. I believe this is what the first graders are working on, but she gave that to me right away and said, you know, P, let me know when he's ready. So I gave him the test and he only missed 3, and it was really exciting. He's definitely the type who needs to know why he's wrong, and like if he misses something, it helps him to remember it forever. It's like he knows what was wrong and why he got it wrong. I believe one of the words was once, ONCE, and he had no idea how to say it because, you know, he's reading these words, and it just didn't make sense that, you know, an O would have a W sound. So he definitely remembered that forever. He never forgot how to spell it or what that word looked like or sounded like. But we received our COVID test results. Everyone was negative, which was a relief. And I did some editing in the office, and I stayed up really late watching Squid Games. That was kind of a mistake. I mean, it was good, but I stayed up so late, like 4 a.m. binge watching the show. Shows just get you with the endings of the episode. You just have to see what happens, and then you're sucked in for another hour. So that's what happened this evening, and it was not great in the morning. I wrote that I put this sleep in sticker, but technically I didn't sleep in. I just slept a little bit and had to wake up, but it was definitely a lot later than I had woken up during the week. Then, so we were still working on these 150 words. PJ was really motivated to get this mastered. So we did another test. He got all of them correct, and he wasn't, normally if he isn't sure about things, I don't really count it as right, although even if he does eventually get there. But he was very confident in all the words he was reading. So then we started learning about the differences in the words, because there were variations of the same word, different spelling, two, there, and I was teaching him like differences, how to use them, what they mean, and I was even adding like more words like there, and he was learning what they are was and what that means, contractions. He was just having a good time, like learning with all these words. But my husband was working on the dryer this evening, trying to figure out what happened. He thought he knew at this point. He's like, I think it's good, but actually wasn't fixed until a few days later. But on this day, I did some editing, and this is when I made Jackson's cake and got his gifts. I can't remember when. I think I went previously to pick up his gifts, but this is when we were able to celebrate, give him his gifts. And I also went on a grocery run. So that is this week. Started out tough, got better towards the end. So here are all the stickers I have left over. This was definitely one of the newer formats, not the newest. This was when she had like the weekly cleaning boxes that you could add on. I don't think she does this anymore. She still has these deco sheets. I probably could have added some more. Maybe I will still do that and try to fit some in. Here is the bows. She had sent this one because she had an oops on this full box, or this half box, and I ended up still using it. It was supposed to look like this instead, but I used a lot of, as much as I could. I always try to use as many stickers as possible. This week again, I didn't use a day extender. I probably could have gone through more stickers with that, but I just didn't have a ton of notes for this week. It was just like a tough week. I didn't have too much to put in here, so I decided to stay away from the day extenders and just keep it simple. Such a pretty week. So happy with how it turned out. Getting into this last week, this kit is called Floral Dreams. This one was actually pretty exciting because it was kind of a newer thing for Nikki plus 3. She had a first time, I believe it was her first time having washi, and this washi was designed for this kit. So this kit was actually formatted differently, so there wasn't any bottom washi, and she actually added a lot more elements to this kit because she had that room where the bottom washi would have been. She decided to take that out since you could use the washi as a bundle of 3. These two and then this one on the top. I decided to just use my normal Nikki plus 3 setup that I like to do. But it was really exciting that she had her first washi. I know she had moved across the country, so I haven't seen any more washi bundles with kits. I'm sure they will come in the future, but I was just so excited. Even though this color scheme, initially I was like, I don't know if it was something I would have like been drawn to. I was just so excited. I definitely loved the florals, and I felt like when I purchased it, I wasn't thinking that I'm going to use it in October, but once I thought about it more, I was like, wait, I can kind of put this in October because of the black. I wanted to be able to use something that's still florally but transitioning into Halloween. I really thought I was going to have a ton of Halloween kits this year, but I didn't see a ton that I loved, so I ended up not really, I only had 2 weeks that were very Halloween themed, so I thought this would be good, like, as a transition right before those 2 spreads, just because the green, purple, black, it's kind of giving me a little bit of October colors, but I pulled in obviously the Nikki +3 washi. I really wanted to still use that. There are washi strips from the kit, and then I have some Simply Gilded just to fit in the last couple spots. But these colors were really fun. Like, it was a lot different than what I'm used to. I mean, even these colors are definitely a lot different, but it was just fun to have variety in this month. The Glitter Mama as usual, and let's see, this is October 11th through the 17th. We had 2 birthdays, my cousin and my sister-in-law. On Monday, I had to set my alarm. I was definitely messed up. My sleep schedule was messed up from the weekend of watching Squid Game so late, and I had to set my alarm to try to get back on schedule. I mean, I had to get PJ to school, but coffee Monday, did some editing. My husband officially figured out the dryer issue. I called my brother, and then I had a really long call with my sister, just catching up. And Tuesday, laundry day, took a much needed nap. Every time I don't have coffee, I am very likely that I'm gonna need a nap. But I did some editing. This evening we watched Dancing with the Stars Disney Hero Night, and that's a show that my boys really love, so we always watch it as it's coming out. But in the evening, had some couch time with my husband. And then Wednesday, it was trash day. Went to the gym for a workout. Minimum day, I wrote that we went to McDonald's again. PJ wanted a redo. He definitely understood, you know, what, like, he eventually understood what happened and where I was coming from. So he was it was a complete 180 from the previous week. He did really well. Benny actually ended up yelling a little bit and copying what PJ was saying, but PJ was able to let him know. Like, he talked through basically what I had talked through with PJ, so it was kind of funny to just hear him, you know, repeat what I was saying, and it was just nice to know, like, he understood and that he was able to, like, that he was able to take my words and, like, pass it on to Benny, like, explain to him what he learned. But this evening we watched the Dancing with the Stars Disney Villain episode, and I had received Happy Mail from White Deer Stationery. Also spent some time organizing my new stickers. Thursday, grocery run with Benny. This was definitely one of the first grocery runs that we had done. It took us a while to, like, be okay with letting the boys go to the store again, and now it's still pretty occasional, but he loved it so much. He was just so excited to be able to help me and just be part of something different. But I also heard that Benny went potty without taking off his pants, which is kind of funny to have in here, but I did some tidying up and I ran the Roomba. I sent out the thank you cards finally. It was definitely a long task to get all of those written out and sent out. Family Zoom with my brother and sister. We had therapy on Friday. Target pickup. Started decorating the house for Halloween. Normally I would have done that earlier, but it was just too tough in the previous week. YouTube binge, and I tried making horchata for the first time. It was, I think I had wrote like it was good, but I definitely needed a cheesecloth to make it like really, you know, to take all of the little grains out of there. It was good. It was just a little bit grainy because I used like a strainer instead of like the cheesecloth with the strainer. But anyways, on Saturday I added a tiny little half box extender because I didn't want this whole space, but I did have a couple extra things to write. I went to the gym for a workout. PJ started practicing cursive. He was really excited to figure out how cursive worked. Like he would write on whiteboards and write on his paper what he thought cursive looked like, and he kind of made up how to write words in cursive, but I gave him some worksheets to show him how cursive is written, and he just loved it. He wanted to do tons of those practice sheets. I got some Happy Meal from Printpression and Sweet Bean Plans. I wrote that the boys were fighting constantly. I don't know if it was just this day. I know this day was like probably a very intense part of their fighting, but I wasn't sure if it was like from the whole week or, you know, whenever PJ came home from school, but there was definitely a lot of fighting. And I did some editing, snuggled with the boys in the evening. Sunday, uploaded a video. We watched church and I made French toast and we relaxed this day. So this is this week. So pretty. I love this kit. This is definitely a different format. I don't know if she's done one since like this, but I tried to use as many of the florals as I could. All the full boxes. Here are the leftover functional boxes, some floral. Oh, I really wanted to like pull these in. I kind of forgot to do that, but yeah, this was the page where the bottom washi would have been. So instead of the bottom washi, she had the headers and, you know, all of these other elements. This is where this box went, and it was just a really cool, unique format. I just loved using it, and I was so excited to see her washi and see how beautiful it all came together. For the rest of October, just to maybe go through highlights, I do have plan with me's of these videos. Let's see, PJ earned his 150 word shirt, so that means he was able to read all 150 words with, I believe, 2, maybe 3 different teachers. And then any other, let's see. Oh yeah, I was like, what is the stressful thing? Because then my husband helped me with the stressful time. My boys got into the science kit and got dye all over the carpet. That was fun. I was taking a nap when that happened. Benny reunited with his jeans. He loves jeans. Homework. Anything else? Haircuts. Love these little boxes. Anyways, that is... So this is the very last week of October. This is the week of Halloween. I love this spread so much. This kit, so this one was Brown Ones Worth Love. This is from Christine's Paper Studio. So beautiful. I love this so much. So pretty. Added some extenders. Again, I have a video of this week. So yeah, that is the month of October. Let me just flip through these 3 spreads, all from Nikki +3. Hopefully hopefully I keep going, hopefully you guys keep watching as I catch up in this planner. I don't know if I'm going to work on my New Year's spread next, or if I'm going to jump to Valentine's Day. This past month has definitely been very eventful, so I kind of want to get that in my new planner because there's just so many memories I want to write down. But maybe that will be my next video. I really hope you guys enjoyed catching up with me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.